Hello there guys and welcome to Daily Updates. The EFF will be holding their third elective conference this December. If you really look at the performance of the 2024 elections, the EFF needs to go back to the drawing board and pick leaders that are going to take them to the 2026 local elections and the 2029 general elections. The EFF is a very important part of South African politics. Without the EFF, we are missing something. It is a missing piece to South African politics. Now the EFF needs to really go back and pick leaders that are going to take the movement forward. If you really look at the performance of 2024 elections, there was a lot missing. And really, the EFF is that important child that if you really mold well, they are going to do well in the future. That is why looking into the elective conference, the EFF needs to be very careful in picking their leadership because that will be their leadership for the next 5 years. One person in particular that I would like to mention in this episode is Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, the former national spokesperson. And to be honest, since Mbuyiseni Ndlozi was the national spokesperson, I've never seen someone performing the same as him. He is that national spokesperson that no one will ever replace. You have Ndlozi and behind him is the rest of them. That is how good Ndlozi was as the national spokesperson of the EFF. Getting that role, showing that he has the capability to be a leader in the economic freedom fighters.
You know, 70% of the world's gold comes from South Africa, but it does not benefit any South Africans. We don't care who you are. We're not scared. We don't care. When you commit crime, the EFF government will be a crime-busting government. We're not going to allow anybody to abuse the generosity of the South African spirit. We'll never allow that. Whether you're Nigerian, Pakistani or not, if you bring nonsense to South Africa, we're not even going to deport you. We're going to imprison you, and if it needs be for good. So we'll be very tough on crime. But the regional integration is a much longer process, but it has to do with trade deals that allow us to get the resources that we need from our neighbors in exchange for economic activities. And those economic activities are going to benefit South Africans first. That is the reality.
Mbuyiseni Ndlozi holds a PhD in political sociology. So if you really want to talk about education, just know that Mbuyiseni Ndlozi has passed that stage. He's well educated and he's well fit to be in the top 6. And we have seen him in parliament. We have seen him debating and putting his argument forward. The man has it all to be a leader. And actually, if we can really talk about it, he's probably the future leader of the economic freedom fighters. At the moment, he's 39 years old. He probably has few more years to go until he gets in that position of being a leader of the EFF. But as of now, Ndlozi deserves a seat in the top 6, and I think that seat would be the Secretary General of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Mbuyiseni is that person that can be the engine of the EFF. In terms of intellect, the man can do it all. The man can be a boost for the EFF in order for them to go and compete and reclaim their position or even do better than they've done in 2024. So Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is the man I think should be replacing Marshall Dlamini as the Secretary General of the Economic Freedom Fighters. People can say that it is too early to be talking about the EFF, but we've done the same about the ANC to really talk about the leadership and the contestation even before we reached September. Now it is time to really look into the EFF, but I really believe that Ndlozi deserves the opportunity. There is a saying that there is no time for contestation, there is no time to talk about position, but this is the right moment to really discuss positions. If you remember well, when we went to the election, Ndlozi was the one person who shifted the focus of many voters, because a lot of people spoke about the EFF and they mentioned the things like open borders and the fact that EFF is for foreigners, they don't care about the locals. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi took the platform when he was being interviewed and he articulated this thing of open borders, and a lot of people really understood what Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is trying to say. Such leaders, you put them closer, you nurture them, you give them an opportunity to fly so that they can bring change in what you have. EFF is very important. You put Mbuyiseni Ndlozi in that top 6, you are going to have fruits. You are going to perform better. And by putting Ndlozi as the Secretary General, you also shift from how things were structured. Give Ndlozi an opportunity to conduct interviews, to do media briefings. By doing that, you know that with Ndlozi you are in safe hands, and he is going to change the mind of South Africans. You need the voters in 2026. You need the voters in 2029. You start now with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Surely you are going to perform better. Surely the structure will be better than that we have seen. Not that it was bad, but always when we don't perform well, you have to get a new leadership. You have to get additional members so that they can help create that stable wall that you need in the organization that is going to take you to become a formidable force in politics of South Africa. Many are writing the EFF off, forgetting that the EFF will come back to surprise a lot of people, but that comeback will depend on how they do by picking their top 6. As of now, we can talk about a lot of them, but I think the first person you really need to mention in the organization in the top 6 is Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Give Ndlozi a chance so that he can provide that boost that is needed in the organization. I think it is going to be very interesting leading up to the elective conference. As the months go, people are going to be having their opinions. Analyzers are going to come and analyze. But at the end of the day, it is upon the organization to decide whether Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is very important or whether he can remain part of EFF and not in the top 6. I really think if they don't pick him, it will be a missed opportunity. In that said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and until next time. Cheers.
I'd like to call a point of order, House Chair, because a government minister cannot deliberately mislead the House. There is no sovereign wealth fund in this country. You must withdraw. There's no such a thing. At this stage where you are, it's not those talks by the streets you are having. You must speak facts on behalf of a government. There's no sovereign wealth fund in this country. You must withdraw. Take us serious here.
Honorable Minister.
The judge has written a thesis when he was on the bench, attacking Roman Dutch law.
Honorable Ndlozi.
Your illiteracy is not going to help us.
Can you please sit down?
This judge has
Ndlozi.
written papers against Roman Dutch law
Ndlozi,
when he was
sit
on
down?
the bench.
Can you take the
You come here and you lie. You lie. This judge spoke about decolonization of the law from the bench. Don't lie here, man. Must read
Ndlozi.
extensive, well-researched papers that are peer-reviewed. Yes, yes. And he didn't say anything about sports, about arts. He gets there.
Honorable.
What's going to happen about the arts?
From Honorable Ndlozi.